Hello dear students, how are you? I wish all of you will be healthy and safe. So students, in this tutorial we are going to discuss some problems related to list. Okay, let's discuss one by one. Your first problem, program to input the elements in a list according to user. Means here user is free to input any number of elements in the list. Let's see how can we create a list according to user. Okay. First of all, take the size of the list from the user. Size equals to, write down the message here, input, enter the size. Okay. After it, you have to create a empty list. So how to create an empty list? To create an empty list, just write down simple blank square. Okay. Now square it. So now the initial value of I from 1, because you have to go to till the size of the list. So initial value of I will be 1 and use while loop. Okay, while equals to while I is less than equals to size. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to write down the message. So write down the message here, print enter the I L. Okay, what is the use of this statement? So this statement will print enter the first, it will print enter the first element, because the initial value of I is 1. So it will print enter the first element. So after watching this message and user will enter the value. Okay, then you have to capture this value by using input function. So write down the item equals to in, input. Okay, it is sufficient. Okay, after watching this after watching this line, this statement, the user will enter a value and you have to capture this value. Okay, and next you have to add this item in your list. How? Using append function. So write down l dot append. Okay, using append function. And what you have to append? You have to append the item which is entered by the user. Okay, okay, now increase the value of so I plus equals to 1. Sorry, I plus equals to 1. Okay, now your list is ready. So now simple print your list. Now print list. Okay, now run your program. So it is clear. Using this line, you will take the size of the user. Okay, this is your empty list. This is the initial value of the loop. Okay, so your loop will go till the size of the list. This is the message for the user to instruct the user enter the first element, second element, third element. Whenever the user enters the value, you will capture it. Okay, after capturing, you will append that item in your list and increase the value of I2 run this loop. Okay, after completing this loop, your list will be printed. Okay, let's see how. Enter the size. Suppose your size of your list is 5, so it will instead enter the first element, enter the second element, enter the third element, enter the fourth element, enter the fifth element. It will be 5. Then you can see your list is ready. Okay, so in this element, in this list, the items are added. Okay, students, so now you are able to understand the use of append function. So append function is used to add the items in your list. Okay, so let's move to the next problem. So in the next problem, you have to eliminate all the elements which are divisible by 7. Okay, so first you have to check the element, a particular element is divisible by 7 or not. If it is divisible by 7, then remove it from the list. Let's see how can we do it. So this is your list. So what you have to do, you have to create another list that will keep the copy of all elements. How? Using the, suppose L2 equals to L dot copy. Okay, so your L2 list will keep the copy of the list 1. So using L2 you will search the element, and using remove function you will remove that particular element from L. Okay, so now again use the for loop. So for item in L2, search the element in L2 and remove from it from your main list. Okay, so your item if your item is divisible by 7, okay, it will check the particular element is divisible by 7 or not. If it is divisible, then use remove function. L dot remove what, that particular element. Okay, it's clear. Now your elements are removed, and now print your final list. Okay, again your program. Enter the size. Suppose the list of size is 5. So enter the first element 96, 56, 14, 21, okay, and 33. You can see this is your main list. Okay, and this is the list after removal of the elements which are divisible by 7. So here the your 56, 14, and 21 are divisible by 7, so all these elements are removed from your list. Now this is your final list. Okay students, I hope all of you have understood how can we remove the particular element from the list. So in this program I am focusing on the removal of elements. Okay students, let's move to the next problem. So in the next problem, program to take two lists of same size and create third list which contains the sum of the corresponding elements. Suppose your first list is K. Here you have some elements in K. This is your second list. Okay, here we have also some elements in list L. Okay, in the third list, I will keep the sum of all the elements corresponding elements. Is 2 plus 5 will be 7, 6 plus 8 will be 14, 4 plus 7 will be 11, and 7 plus 9 will be 16. Okay, let's create it. So first of all, take two list. Okay, remove this program. Okay, remove this program. Okay. Take a list K equals to of same size. You can take the list from user also. Okay, now I'm not taking from user side, I am taking myself. Okay, so here input the element, take your element like this. Okay, this is your first list and this is your second list. So in this list you have the same number of elements. Okay, so in this list I have 4 elements, in this list I have 4 elements also. So what you have to do, use the while loop. The size of this list is 4, so initial value of I will be 0. Okay, while I is less than size. Okay, how can we find the size of the list? It's very simple. T len, we'll use the len function, len and size of k. Okay, it will return the size of the k. And what you have to take a blank list that will contain the sum of the elements. Okay, suppose n, and it will be blank. Now what you have to do, you have to add the element in n. So what you will do, you m dot append. What you have to append? Okay, so you have to append the item the sum of 15 and 23, because the position of 15 is 0 and position of 23 is 0. So you have to add this item. So k I, so it means the element 15, and again li, it will be 23. Let's see how. The initial value of I is 0, So it will go to the zeroth index of k. On the zeroth index of k, I have 15. So it will, so here it will see 15. Okay. The next, the value of L0, the value of L0 will be 23. So it will return 20, 15 plus 23. Okay, so that will be equals to 8, and so 3, that will be 38. Sorry, it will be 38. So the 38 will be the first element of M. Okay, so next you have to increase the value of I. So I plus equals to 1. Okay, now print the final list. Print k, sorry, M. Now your program is ready to run. Okay, and you can see in this list you have your elements. Sum of the elements. 15 plus 23 is 38. Now reduce the value like this. Okay. Now 15 plus 23, 38. 3 plus 6, 9. 5 plus 5, 10. And 2 plus 10, 12. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next problem. In this problem, you have to count the frequency of each elements of a list. Let's see how. For example, in your list you have elements like 12, 14, 15, 10, 12, 14, 30, and so on. So you have to print that the frequency of 12 is 1, 2. The frequency of 12 is 2, and the frequency of 14 is 2, and the frequency of 15 is 1, frequency of 10 is 1, and frequency of 13 is 1. Okay, so you have to count the frequency. You have to find the frequency, not count. You have to find the frequency of each element of a list. Okay, let's see how can we solve this problem. Okay, first of all, remove this problem. Okay, to solve this problem, what you have to do? Suppose this, first take a list. Okay, so in this list you have multiple elements. Okay, like this. Okay, so what you have to do? First of all, you have to create a duplicate list. Okay, temporary list which contains the unique element. Okay, for example, this is your duplicate list. Sorry, duplicate list. Okay, and it will contain the unique records. Okay, for example, the unique record is 12, 10, 14, 13, and 15. Okay, so here you have the records, multiple records which are coming frequently, but here you have the records, you have the elements which are not duplicated. Okay, so what you will see, what you will do, you will count each element of this list from this list to this list. Okay, the first element is 12. Then you will use the count function. So how many times 12 occurs in the your main list. Okay, so let's see how can we create the first duplicate list. Okay. So use the for loop for the duplicate list is blank. Okay, your duplicate list is blank. Initially it is blank. Okay, next for item. Okay, item in L. Okay, item in L. So check if item not in sorry not in your duplicate list, then what will it do? It will add that particular item in your duplicate list. Okay, So now duplicate list dot append what item, because it is not in the list. Okay, check it's working. Okay, first of all, if for item in L, so first of all it will take 12. Okay, so it will check 12 not in duplicate list. Yes, it is not in duplicate list because it is initially blank. So it will append 12 in your duplicate list. Your duplicate list will become like this. Okay, it will contain 12. Now again, the next item in your main list is 10. So it will check 10 is not in duplicate list. In duplicate list, you have 12 only. So 10 is not present. So it will add 10. Again, it will check for 10. Okay. 10 not in duplicate list. No, it's false because 10 is already present. So it will ignore this 10. So again, it will go for 12. 12 is present in this list. So it will ignore and it will go to the next element. 14 is present. No, so it will add 14 in your list. Okay, 14 is present in your duplicate list. Yes, so it will ignore it. 13 is present in your duplicate list. No, so it will add 13 here. And similarly, it will add 15. 14 is present already, so it will not. So in this way, you are creating a list which contains the unique element, not duplicate element. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to count the frequency, you have to count the elements. Okay, so again use for item in this case you have to use the duplicate list. You have to check the each element of duplicate list. So write down, so print, write down the message here, the frequency of what, frequency of item, frequency of item equals to, and here you have to use the count function. Okay, write down the count function as dot count what item. Okay, now your program is ready to run. Now run your program. You'll see 12 occurs, 12 occurs 2 times, 12 occurs 2 times, and frequency of 10 is 2. Frequency of 10 is 2. Frequency of 14, 1, 2, 3, and the frequency of 13 is 1, and frequency of 15 is 2. Okay, so in this way you can count the number of items in a list. So to solve this problem, first of all you have to create a duplicate list. In a duplicate list you will keep the unique element. Okay, after creating this list you have to check, you have to count the frequency of that particular element. So here it will check the item of duplicate list. First in the duplicate list it will take the first item, because in this list you have the unique element. So that unique element will be counted from that from your main list. Okay students, let's move to the next problem. Your next problem is very interesting. So write a program to count which type of elements are present and how many. Okay, so in your list you can keep any elements of any type. So you have to count the type of elements. Okay, so in your list you have integer values, floating point values, list, strings, and a tuple also. Okay, so you have to count each type of type. Okay, integers are 2. You have two integers 4 and 9 here. Floating points 2, 8.6 and 4.4. Strings are 2, RLVM and Hathras, and tuple is 1. So here you have the one tuple. Okay, to solve this problem, first of all you should know how to determine the type of a particular value. Let's see. So I'll remove this list. Okay. For example, if you want to check the type of a particular value, for example, print type, and write down 6 here. Okay, 6 is the integer value, so it will print the type. You can see class int. Okay, If you write down here 6.5, now run your program. Now you can see the class float. Okay, if you write down here, type, sorry, here 12, 56, 55. So here you have a list. So then it will print the class list here. Okay. Similarly, you can check for a string also. Here write down ABC. Now you can see the class str. Okay. So using type function, you can check the which type of value is it. Okay, so we will use this logic, this type function to decide the type of the value. Okay, so now first take a list, and your list you have various type of value. For example, so let's copy this. Okay, let's copy it now. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to check the type of each element using for loop. Okay, let's say for item in app. Okay, and a equals to str, you have to convert a particular type. Here you have a string here, so I am converting all this content into a string, so that's why I am using str function. So write down the str and type here type of item. Okay, what I am doing, I am just converting the type into string. Okay, whenever I use the type item function, it will written like this type of a string. Okay, so this quotation is not a string, so I am converting that this quotation into a string. Okay, now use the for loop. If int, sorry, if int in a, okay, so this is the string function in, so in will check the existence of int in a. Okay, so here you will get this, you will get this string here. Okay, so in this string it will check the existence of int. If int is present, then it will, for counting the integers you have to decide the variable. To count the integer I have I, to count the float point number I have f, for string I have s, for list I have l, and for tuple I have t. Okay, so counting of integer will be stored in I, counting of floating points will be stored in f, counting of string will be stored in s, counting of list will be stored in l, and counting of tuple will be stored in t. Okay, if int is available in a, so in this case I plus equals to 1. Okay, similarly use the elif float is in a, then what is the mistake here, then f plus equals to 1. elif integer float string, if string is available in your string, then it will print s plus equals to 1. Similarly elif, now integer float string list in a, now l plus equals to 1, else we have the tuple, and the else statement, else t plus equals to 1. Okay, Now print all the frequencies. So write down the message here, print frequency of integers. Frequency of integers equals to that is stored in I. Okay. Now frequency of floating points. Floating points, it is stored in F. Floating points, so sorry, frequency of a string, that is stored in S. Floating of lists L, and next one is tuple. Tuples in L. Okay, now we have the program. What is the error? What is the error? Sorry, invalid character and identifier. What is the mistake? Okay, int object is not retrievable for item in L. For item, for sorry, you have to write down capital L here. Capital L. Okay. Program. Now you can see the frequency of integers 2, floating points 2, and strings 2. Okay. Let's see. Now, using this loop, you are accessing each element one by one. So in the first loop, you will get 4. Next loop, you will get 8.6, 9, and so on. Now the type keyword will find out the type of a particular item. Okay. So after after executing this function, it will return a quotation. So using str function, you will convert that quotation into string. Okay. Now using in function, you will check the existence of a particular keyword, like int. You will check integers, is int available is in a or not. If it is available in a, then it will increase the value of I equals to 1. Okay. Similarly, it will check for float, str, list, and so on. Now, finally, it will print your results. So thank you, students, enough for this session. I hope all of you have understood some more about list. Okay, so you have to watch this video again and again to more about list. Okay, thank you, students. Have a nice day. Be healthy, be safe.